What is the number one question in life? And you can put that in the comment section. You can write it down, or maybe you don't feel like it and you just have it in your head. That's okay. I asked my wife this question, and she said, "What is my purpose?" Man, that's a killer question. What is my purpose? For some of us, maybe as you wake up, is how am I going to get through the day? Because you might be going through some tough times or going through some trials and tribulations, and you're like, how am I going to get through the day? Another valid question. Some of you may say, look, what am I going to eat? Am I going to have cereal? Or am I going to have some eggs? I don't know. Another valid question. But according to a French philosopher named Blaise Pascal, not only was he a philosopher, but he was a mathematician and a physicist. Man, that's a killer combination. It's like, wow, there's a lot going on. He says this: the number one question in life is God. And when you begin to think about that, I know when I begin to think about that, like, dude, that's true. Because what I think about God does order the day or how I go about my life. Because if I believe there's a God, I'm going to take, what I heard, at a gathering, whether it's a church or you're in a small group, or, take what you sang about, what you heard from a sermon, and be like, man, I'm going to really pay attention to that and apply it to my life. Or you could have a friend or a sage, somebody's got a lot of wisdom. It could be your grandma, your grandpa, or a mentor, a coach, or whatever. And they said something, they believe in God. And you're like, man, what they're doing, I'm going to do that too. And it may be for you who don't believe there's a God, or there's some power out there that's not really concerned. And you're going to live your life according to that. You're going to make decisions according to that. So, what Blaise Pascal, when he raises is, it's kind of true. Who is God? God is the question. And a long time ago, in the Bible, written by a guy millennials ago named David. And David, I'm not going to go through his biography because that's for another time. And we're going to kind of dive through this for the next little bit and just kind of unpack this verse because it has a lot in here. But he gives the question and talks about God. He says this: Yahweh, who dares to dwell with you? Who presumes the privilege of being close to you, living next to you in your shining place of glory? So he asks these two questions, which is connected to what Blaise Pascal says about the number one question is God. And so he goes and answers this. He says that they are passionate and wholehearted, always sincere, always speaking the truth, for the hearts are trustworthy. They refuse to slander or insult others. They never listen to gossip or rumors, nor would they ever harm a friend with their words. They would despise evil and evil workers, while commending the faithful ones who follow after the truth. They make firm commitments and follow through, even at great cost. They never crush others with exploitation, and they will never be bought with a bribe against the innocent. Those who do these things will never be shaken. They will stand firm forever. So here we have David, who wrote this millennials ago, way before Blaise Pascal, like even definitely before us, as we wrestle with this question. But he brings this by asking it to Yahweh, which is the Hebrew term talking about God. Yahweh, who dares to dwell with you? Question. Who presumes the privilege of being close to you, living next to you in your shining place of glory? Question. So we're talking about God and being with God. How do we do that? And so he talks about several different things. He says being passionate, saying being sincere, having our hearts being trustworthy, talking about our words, that our words are not there to hurt someone else or to break them down. Talks about our commitments, that we are loyal with our commitments, even at a great cost. He says a lot in here about, okay, God, and if we're talking about God and God being a priority, it's about how we live with others that makes the difference. And even if we're on the side about, I don't know about God and God is maybe out there or doesn't exist. Man, this is some really good advice about how to live. If your life is just day to day and you're just kind of whatever, David really gives some good advice about having a pretty good day and being passionate and being wholehearted, about being honest, about not slandering, about not participating in evil, about praising what's good, and about keeping your commitments. It's kind of like a win-win situation if we talk about believing in God and not believing in God. But where it comes in, where the difference is, when we talk about belief in God, belief in Jesus and his son who he has sent, how we treat other people, it is extremely important because that is reflective of your relationship with God. And when you place in God as priority, how I treat you, how I treat other people matters. It's not just a me and God, only me and God. I'm going to do what I'm going to do with being God. It talks about here from David is that how I choose to talk to my loved ones, how I treat my neighbors, even how I treat enemies matters. It matters to God. And when we live out a way, and this is very altruistic, always is a word that I'm like, man, always? I don't always do always, but is a goal and a thing that we should aspire to, is that our hearts be trustworthy, is that how we speak to people. We don't participate in gossip because gossip is spreading word about someone else that are not in the room and it's more likely it's hurting them. It's like don't participate in stuff because it's damaging another person. It's not just about hearing a word. It's about damaging the other person, about their character, about who they're worth. And it also talks about evil and it talks about our commitments. It says all this matters and it's not just a horizontal thing between me and God. It's a vertical, but it's also a horizontal thing to how we treat each other. And we're going to unpack this and talk about this verse for several days. There's a lot in here and some other things that are connected to this about when we talk about God and that God is priority, how do I live this out? And David kind of gives us some really, really good advice about this. Even David at times didn't follow this because David, you read his life, he did some stuff, but yet it's still a goal that got him back on track. And the thing that we have that David knew the Lord, but we have Jesus. And what Jesus has done for us, Jesus fulfilled all this. And he becomes this for us. He's given us a goal and a thing for us to aspire and how we live one another, which is a good thing when we talk about following God or not following God. This is some really, really good advice to live by. But we have Jesus. When we do screw up like David did, we have Jesus who has died upon a cross for the forgiveness of our sins, to be in right relationship with God, and through the blood of him, what he's done for us, that we have been made clean, and he's given us a goal to aspire. Because he's done this for us. He wants us to live this way, but he's done it for us. But in living this out, it is a blessing to other people. And when somebody looks at you and how you treat them with respect and your heart is trustworthy and they can trust you that you're not going to talk trash about them behind their back, they're going to be like, yeah, something's different about him. And they may want to know, why do you live the way that you live? And then that's your testimony. Hey, it's because of Jesus and what he's done for me and how he wants to live my life. That's what it's all about, y'all. It's about Jesus. It's about growing in God. And for those who today who in this area, I don't know who God is or God doesn't exist. God has given it. He still is looking out for you. He's still searching for you. He still wants you to come home. He knows that today, as you go about your day, you're going to screw up. And he doesn't want that to count against you. He's given you Jesus, who died for you, who's forgiving your sin, for you to draw closer to him, to what you've been created for, is to live your life before God and worship him with all that you are. So I pray that you're encouraged today and be a blessing today. And know that to be love, to be inspiration, and to be encouragement for all those around you. And we will see you soon.